official visit to the Kingdom of Spain. At this briefing, His Excellency President Nangolo Mbumba will brief the nation on what transpired during his visit to the three countries that I just mentioned, US in terms of New York, General Assembly, Germany, as well as Spain. Thereafter, His Excellency will invite honorable ministers, deputy ministers, presidential advisors who accompanied him to these events for their interventions. There will be an opportunity for question and answers. Media will be invited to post their questions on the subject. Time is of essence. I kindly request that when you post your questions, let it be short, straight to the point. Thank you. On that note, may I now invite His Excellency, President of the Republic of Namibia, to deliver his briefing statement to the nation. Your Excellency.
Thank you, Ambassador Leonard Ipumbu, Chief of State Protocol and Director of this briefing. Honorable Ministers, Advisors, EDs, but especially members of the media, good morning. I am pleased to join you this morning on this occasion that strengthens our commitment to transparency in governance and freedom of the press under the Harambee Prosperity Plan 1 and 2. Over the past 9 months, I have been to many parts of our country. I have visited many regions, interacted widely with political leaders, traditional leaders, church leaders, business gurus, and sports fraternity, and broader social society, civil society. My engagement have been publicly accounted in the press releases, and on social media pages of the presidency. Not less important, I also visited countries near and far to assure partnership countries of Namibia's stability, Namibia's peace and security, and to strengthen economic cooperation for the benefit of each and every Namibian. Hence, I saw it fit to call this briefing to share and to provide with my team feedback to my fellow citizens about 2, if not 3, important missions I undertook over the past 30 days. My participation in the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly, which convened under the theme, Leaving No One Behind, Acting Together for the Advancement of Peace, Sustainable Development, and Human Dignity for the present and future generations. Those were the themes. And my participation in the Hamburg Sustainability Conference in Germany, in the city of Hamburg and in Germany. On the Summit of the Future, let me say the following. Namibia and Germany, the Republic of Namibia and the Federal Republic of Germany were requested in 2023 to co-facilitate what the Secretary General of the UN then called the Summit of the Future, and to also facilitate the drafting process of the Pact for the Future. That in itself is no mean feat and projected attention to Namibia as a country. For that reason, my participation together with the Namibian delegation in the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly was important and essential. I am pleased to report that alongside Chancellor Olaf Scholz of the Federal Republic of Germany, we co-facilitated the Summit of the Future from the 20th to the 23rd September 2024. The summit was convened under the theme Summit of the Future, Multilateral Solution for a Better Tomorrow, and consequently adopted the Pact of the Future by the General Assembly itself. Since I received letters from different quarters questioning why Namibia co-chaired the summit and facilitated the drafting of the pact, I need to make it very clear here that Namibia did not negotiate any legally binding agreement. The Pact of the Future is an intergovernmental negotiated action-oriented document and adopted by consensus, with chapters on the following topics. Number one, sustainable development and financing for development. We all want our countries to develop, and we all want to live like other people are living, under better conditions, under better housing, under better education system, with hospitals and so on, living under conditions that are truly modern and human. Number two, international peace and security. We should value peace. We should value the security. We should avoid friction with our neighbors and friction within our own countries. Third, science, technology, and innovation, and digital cooperation. Any country in modern time that does not appreciate the benefit of science, the benefit of technology and innovation is falling behind. And we should definitely endeavor to train our young people to make sure that they are technology savvy and understand the principles of science. Number four, youth and future generations. All the things we are doing must be done for the benefit of the next generation. If we do not prepare our young people for a better future, for valuing peace, for valuing neighborhood, for creating peaceful conditions for our children to be able to play, learn, and dance together, irrespective of whatever differences we may have, we have not done our duties. Last and fifth, transforming global governance. The UN system was created 1945. It has done its duties where applicable, but right now is strained, is in facing difficulties. It is no longer able to cope with the challenges facing modern world, from climate challenges to peace and security. Therefore, the global governance we are facing, we have to improve it. Otherwise, we are falling behind, and we are going to face even bigger challenges that nobody will be able to answer to. The Summit of the Future also produced and adopted a global digital compact and a declaration on future generations as annexes to the pact. None of these documents impose any legal obligation on our government. The Pact for the Future provides the guidelines and proposals on how governments and humanity can work together to urgently address global challenges such as climate change, conflicts, and importantly, how we can accelerate the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. I have tasked the Prime Minister to see how best we can align and fit our policies to respond better to the call in the Pact for the Future. There are many, many good points in that document, and we can choose which one we want to implement today, tomorrow, and in the future. But it is not by force of any other country or any other organization, international or regional or continental. As part of my activities as co-chair of the Summit of the Future, it was not actually me, it was Namibia as co-chair. Namibia was co-chairing. I just happened to be the one. It is Namibia which was co-chairing. I have to deliver several statements at various platforms, including at the closing session of the Summit of the Future in what they were calling Action Days. That was the action of the younger people to participate. The official opening of the Summit of the Future and the private sector forum of the Summit of the Future, organized by the UN Global Compact Office. I also held consultations with the Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, His Excellency Olaf Scholz, the Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, and His Excellency Philemon Yang, President of the 79th session of the General Assembly, a colleague from the Republic of Cameroon. Other activities and meetings have been covered in detail in the press release by the Presidency on the 26th of September 2024. Now, on Hamburg Sustainability Conference in Hamburg, Germany, which took place from the 7th to the 8th of October this year, Namibia is emerging as one of the leading voices in Africa in the fight against climate change. Through our commitment to green hydrogen and renewable energy, our country is called to participate in summits and conferences that seek to promote solutions to dealing with warming climate and the advancement of sustainable development goals. It is in that vein that I was invited to the October 2024 Hamburg Sustainability Conference, which is a joint initiative of the German federal government, the United Nations Development Programme, and the Michael Otto Foundation, and the city of Hamburg itself. The conference was held under 3 themes: reshaping the international financial architecture, unleashing investment for sustainable development goals, and leveraging transformation. I participated, and my colleagues also, in the opening panel, alongside the Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, the President of the World Bank, the Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, Olaf Scholz. So this topic was concentrating on money. That's why World Bank have to be presented at the highest level. IMF had to be presented. We represented that train that started in New York on the Summit of the Future. I made the case for the reforming the international financial system to better respond to the needs of developing countries like ours. When we go to this major international institution, the World Bank, the IMF, the African Development Bank, you are looked at as somebody who is coming to beg for money. We are members of those institutions. We annually contribute money to those, as members to those institutions. But when you go there, you look, your country is small, your economy is small, and therefore the interest you have to pay must be high. Why should it be high? Why should I be penalized for being small and smart? So these are the things we are challenging. This institution must respond to modern challenges. All countries need to be developed, and we must get money at reasonable interest rate like any other countries. So on the margins of the conference, I held bilateral talks with Chancellor Scholz, focusing on a number of issues in Namibia-German relations, including the joint declaration on genocide, apology, and reparation, and Namibia's ambition to develop green industries and green hydrogen. I am pleased to inform the Namibian people that Chancellor Scholz and I share the same commitment to ensure that we advance our bilateral relations in a manner that responds to shared prosperity, and that we resolve the genocide issue in the interest of the affected communities and Namibians at large. At the invitation of the President of the Federal Republic of Germany, His Excellency Dr. Frank-Walter Steinmeier, I traveled from Hamburg to Berlin, where I held bilateral talks with President Steinmeier. We both agree on the need to deal with our shared, difficult past with a sense of urgency for the benefit of a stronger and mutually beneficial bilateral relations. In Berlin, I also addressed a high-level business breakfast meeting organized by the Namibian Embassy and the German Chamber of Commerce and Industry, where I encouraged them, the business community, to come and invest in Namibia. En route to Namibia, I paid a courtesy visit to His Majesty Philip VI, the King of Spain. Namibia and Spain have strong commercial ties in the marine sector in the fishing sector, to be blunt. And I discussed this and other opportunities for the mutual prosperity of our two nations. Let me conclude. My mission to the United States, to Germany and Spain, underscore the basic truth that development cannot be effective without stronger multilateral and bilateral partnership. We need friends, we need partners. Our country cannot develop if we don't nurture partnership by responding to opportunities in the external, international, and regional environment. Therefore, missions of this nature are essential to spur Namibia's national development. I would like to thank our development cooperation partners, including the United Nations system, the Federal Republic of Germany, and the Kingdom of Spain. Our efforts in economic transformation and the acceleration of the Sustainable Development Goals have been enhanced as a result of the working visit I undertook to New York for the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly, to the Summit of the Future, and to the Hamburg Sustainability Summit. I will now ask members of my team who were part of my delegation to the UNGA 79 and the Hamburg Sustainability Conference to share with you their sectoral engagements as delegated by Namibia. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. First, before I talk of other engagements, I would just like to underscore what the President said, particularly when I have read remarks by the leader of the Republican Party, Heng March, criticizing the Pact for the Future and in a way misconstruing it to be a legally binding document. All over the world, nations are praising Namibia for the role that we played as co-facilitators in the process leading to the adoption of this document, which was also adopted overwhelmingly by member states of the United Nations. As a small country, we believe in multilateralism because our foreign policy underscores issues that are also raised in the Pact for the Future, like issues of peace and security. So for one to come and say things on the document that perhaps he has not clearly understood, one just expose yourself on the limitations you have on issues that you set yourself to speak about. I also had the opportunity to attend the ministerial conference on the Commonwealth, and as you know, the Commonwealth Heads of State and Government meeting CHOGM will be held in the coming week. I am traveling there today to also represent the President, and our delegation include the Minister of Gender, the Deputy Minister of Youth. They are all forming part of the delegation, where we are also going to elect the new Secretary General of the organization. I also attended a high-level General Assembly session, emergency session, on the issue of Palestine. As you know, since the 7th of October last year, Israel has been aggressively attacking the people of Palestine, displacing people of Palestine, killing women and children, actually doing what is obviously contrary to international law, and failing to abide to the decisions of both the United Nations General Assembly, the decisions of the International Court of Justice. And Namibia's position is well known, that we support international peace and security, and we believe the issue of the Middle East has taken so long, and it is high time that the international community act decisively to ensure a lasting solution is reached on that issue. I also had some other bilateral meetings with foreign ministers from various countries, engaging on issues of bilateral relations with the Republic of Namibia to ensure that we cooperate both bilaterally and multilaterally. I so submit, Mr. President.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for the opportunity granted. The NPC, it's an intricate part, almost every UNGA of the President's delegation. And part of our involvement this time was to be ahead of the President's schedule to attend the following events. I think we are clear about the Summit of the Future and its purpose, eloquently outlined by His Excellency the President, and I waste no time going there. There was pre-summit report launching between the 16th to the 19th of September, which delegates of the National Planning Commission attended throughout. We are the custodian of sustainable development goals by constitutional setting, and we drive development objectives in our country. So something like the Summit of the Future, it's a very important part of the NPC's mandate, and hence our arriving in New York almost on the 15th to start running the action days, 16th to the 19th. So Summit of the Future, Action Day 1 was the establishment of the Africa Credit Rating Agency. We took part in that activity. Action Day 2, 21st September, was a call to action on lethal and extreme heat. These are matters to do with the environment, climate, and all of that. On the 22nd of September, also Summit of the Future, we attended the Artificial Intelligence Purpose for Sustainable Development. On the 23rd, the 4th or 5th day of the Summit of the Future, we did a lot of the side meetings around human settlement and rapid urbanization, as well as the 21st UNIDO General Conference. So those are part of the side events around Summit of the Future. On the 24th, of course, was the UN General Assembly sitting, Sustainable and Targeted Poverty, using the Multi-Poverty Index, Sustainable Development Moment on the 24th, Sustainable Development Moment 2024, SDG acceleration, and what can be done around making sure that the assessment thus far, rating, actually a lot of these noble goals falling behind, and what the world can do to bring all of that up front and on track. The last event on that 24th day of September was concerning moving beyond GDP to achieve the actual sustainable development goals. On the 25th, also a UNGA day, we were part of the Unstoppable Africa High Level. This was a dinner. We attended that dinner as a part of these very important discussions around the world and sustainable development goals, leaving no one behind. And then obviously the Global Africa Business Initiative. On the 26th, there was the Namibia Green Hydrogen Forum, pitching to the investor community and looking for ways of how to do better and to stay ahead of the curve. You've noticed there's a lot of writing in the media about this very noble undertaking by our country. Lots of criticism, part of the democratic process. We have to live up to providing those answers, and it shall be. The second event was Africa Renewable Energy Initiative, which is a program by the governments of Mali, the Republic of Namibia, Kenya, France do participate, and other European countries, with the hope to try and move the provision of electricity to the more than 600 million Africans who are without power. So this runs every year. It's headed, the presidency is part of that group, and we are represented at the technical level by Dr. Hengari, the spokesperson of the president. So in the absence of the president due to other pressing matters, the Director General does participate. So that's a very, very important part of energy provision in the future and funding run under the Africa Renewable Energy Initiative. On the 27th, unpacking the Pact of the Future and its implications for Africa. This was a reception, a very big reception. Namibia featured, like the president said, very, very prominently. Messages of congratulations, and everyone in the UN system came to participate, and these are the events that pitch our country very, very high up in the calendar. So those are amongst the many activities that the NPC partook. Perhaps at this level, in the Hamburg Sustainability Conference, we participated in panels to do with the Pact of the Future and how Namibia actually understands what the Pact brings to a country like ours. The international financial architecture featured very prominently, and that's what we are experiencing at the very moment, not just as in the sustainability and development aspects of the country, but in the green space and climate change. So we represented our country at these platforms and more, and of course there were many other side events. At the business breakfast in Berlin, we featured very, very strongly the fact that we are a country that is ready to do business. We are a country that constitutionally protects its environment, of course, therewith the climate and what we are doing in the green hydrogen space. So it was talking about Namibia in general, its business framework, its peace and stability, what investors can expect, and so on and so forth. Let me leave it at that, Your Excellency, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for the opportunity to share with the nation, and more specifically the young people of Namibia, our participation at the UNGA. At the onset, Your Excellency, I would like to join the others to applaud Namibia for the role that we play in ensuring that this pact has been adopted, because especially for the youth empowerment part, for us this pact really demonstrates that the global leaders are now eliminating all the focus to ensure that the youth, who are now the majority of the population globally, are not left out, but they are being prioritized. Like the previous ministers or the speakers have alluded to, I also participated in side events that preceded the United Nations General Assembly. Firstly, I would like to share the first engagement that I participated, representing His Excellency the President at Africa Youth Forum. This was a side event that was organized by the Republic of Uganda, with the focus of discussing the pertinent issues that the young people are faced, and placing an emphasis on the continent of Africa. At that event, the Prime Minister of Uganda also attended, who led, in fact, the forum, and we discussed issues pertaining to youth unemployment, as we know that this is more a phenomenon that we are all faced with. We discussed issues pertaining to multilateralism and also the financial architecture, and I'll not dwell much on it, as the DG has alluded to it, how it impacts the development, especially in the countries that are still developing. Also worth noting is we discussed the inclusivity of youth in decision making. I'm sure as Namibia, I think we are doing much better compared to other countries. And lastly, we also looked at the role of young people in peace and development. Secondly, we actually hosted this side event as Namibia. It was organized and funded by UNFPA together with the One Economy Foundation. And this side event focused on empowering youth for a sustainable future, unpacking the sexual and reproductive health, inclusive and global governance. This was a side event where we shared the best practice in terms of the advances that we are making to ensure that our youth are empowered to deal with health and well-being. And this speaks to the second pillar in our national youth policy, that is ensuring that we provide access and affordability in terms of accessing this very much needed service for the young people. We have challenges on teenage pregnancy, so this is also one pillar that addresses that concern. The other side event that I attended was a forum that was organized by UNICEF, where we shared an initiative that's being funded and run by UNICEF on Generational Unlimited. This initiative provides funding to young people, encouraging them to be change makers in their society. They are required to identify a problem in the society and then providing a solution. So it mostly deals with social entrepreneurs. We know that when it comes to entrepreneurship, we not only look at the commercial part, but we are encouraging young people really to taking lead in the societies that they are. And lastly is the Summit of the Future, which directly speaks to our mandate. And for us, it was an insightful experience to also listen to the declaration that the global leaders, the presidents were making towards ensuring that the plight, the needs, and the aspirations of the young people are in fact elevated to the level that we need to prioritize and to attend to the needs of the young people. Your Excellency, in short, this was my participation at the concluded UNGA. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Of course, as advisors and executive director in the Office of the President, we accompany His Excellency to these missions, and our role is to continue to make sure that the Office of His Excellency is running. The fact that His Excellency is undertaking engagement doesn't mean that the office stops running. We continue to make sure that his meetings are prepared, his statements are prepared on time, and as His Excellency said, this time he presented a number of statements, almost every day 2 statements, and that has to be prepared by the advisors, the colleagues from the private office in collaboration with the line ministers that were in the delegation. So our role is to make sure that the office continue to function and to also make sure that where His Excellency has meetings, bilateral meetings, that those meetings are taken care of and organized, and as well as a correspondence. Some agent correspondence continue to come from home, and those have to be discussed and to be responded to. I think, Your Excellency, that's the role that we as advisors are playing in addition to every other thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Press Secretary.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I think our Dean spoke competently to how we accompany the President, but maybe I may need to add one thing with regard to the Africa Renewable Energy Initiative, which is a COP21 decision. And this year, the meeting that we held at UNGA was quite successful, in the sense that we attracted high-level participation in the form of the Minister of the Environment from Egypt, the Minister of Energy from Chad, the AU Commissioner for Energy, which demonstrates the fact that array is breathing a new lease of life, and as Namibia, we've been quite instrumental following the difficulties the initiative encountered with the coup d'etat in the Republic of Guinea, where President Alpha Condé was the chairperson, and also the untimely passing of President Idriss Déby of the Republic of Chad, because alongside President Geingob, these were the leaders of RA, and we are really thankful, Your Excellency, for the leadership you've been providing to this important initiative over the past 9 months, and also the culmination of this very important meeting, which took a number of important decisions. Thank you.
There was one minister who was not here, so he will conclude now the briefing.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and good morning to everyone. To conclude, but I have listened to some of the discussion as I was driving. I think the DG of NPC have basically said a lot of things I could have said, and that is in relation to the discussion around the green hydrogen. Of course, Namibia did have its own event where we're actually promoting our own green hydrogen program, and the takeaway, I think, from there is just to say, I think we are being taken seriously by not only the investors, the people who want to come and invest their money to actually produce that, but also by the market, the people who want to offtake the hydrogen. Because they see that the possibility is there. It's just a pity that somehow internally we don't see that opportunity. We always want to think that it's not possible. But when the people who says, look, if your situations like this and the kind of wind you have got, there's a solar you have got, and that is what the likely price can be. Certainly we are going to offtake this green hydrogen when you produce it. And that, I think, was the weakness in the whole argument, to say where is the market going to come from. But as we go on, this market is firming up. The offtake agreements are going to be there. And therefore, really, I think we should really this is an opportunity which Namibia cannot afford not to keep pushing and promote it. And when you hear some people to say, wherever did it happen, or why us, why people are coming here, I keep asking myself, why can't we always can we ever want to be the first to do something? Why is it that we should only want to wait until other people do it, and then we want to follow what they've done? So really, in this engagement, especially the Namibian event that we have organized, the takeaway was that we are on the right path. The market is developing. The technology is developing itself, because also technology-wise, there was maybe an idea about would the technology be sufficient to make sure that the price that will be derived from that will be something which can be compared with some other energy sources. I think that technology continues to improve. So I would want to say that really was a success. The other important event I could mention is the fact that we, as you might know, regarding the energy transition, there is a group of countries that have established a forum to talk about the critical raw minerals that will be needed for the energy transition, and Namibia is part of that. In fact, we are a founding member of what they now call the Mineral Supply Forum. We convened that meeting again. Some other countries joined that forum. And the message again was that, yes, it looks as if the global south seems to have most of these minerals. And the global north might not have sufficient, and they are obviously concerned about the supply of these minerals. The message from all of us from the global south is simply to say, yes, we do have these minerals, but we welcome investors, but that investment that will come to our shores is not to take the minerals out and just simply go there, but it's actually to come and add value, and for us to be able to be the ones selling the finished product to this market, especially the global north. And we all agree, I think the global north also see the point that it makes sense for that to happen. And I think through that platform, we'll continue to learn more what's really going to happen. For example, you might know that a year ago, lithium, for example, was like in high demand, and the price was quite high. Suddenly, in the last 6 months, lithium is no longer actually what people thought, because the manufacturers of e-vehicles, that has dropped, the demand for e-vehicles have dropped, and therefore the price of lithium is no longer what it is. But there are other minerals that are also needed in the energy transition, and therefore we really continue to make sure that the ones that we have in our country, we will continue then to say there has to be value added before they are exported. And you recall, not long ago when Cabinet passed a resolution to say lithium can only be exported in a concentrated form and not just in raw form. So, Comrade President, that's probably the two issues I could say something about. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, as you know, when the president's out of the country, he cannot run the country from New York or from Berlin. That will be illegal. Somebody has to be in charge. Her Excellency Netumbo Nani-Ndaitwah was in charge. She is our vice president. She's a candidate of her own party in her own right. She could not be here because she has to travel to where the next meetings are going to take place. The Right Honorable Prime Minister Sarah Madira could also not be here because of other administrative things, so is the Deputy Prime Minister. But we must, somebody who was at home must also say something. Minister in the presidency, you were at home. Say something.
Thank you very much, Comrade President. It is true that the presidency, as the apex office in the country, has to champion global engagements. It is therefore as a result that the president attended this global engagement like the UN General Assembly, the Sustainable Development Summit in Germany, as well as the Pact for the Future. But like the president says, somebody has to remain home. And the vice president remained home, and she was not only the vice president, she was also the acting president of the Republic of Namibia. So she also engaged in several meetings and undertakings which required the assistance from the minister in the presidency. So as we stayed behind, Comrade President, the office is not closed, the office is not stagnant, the office is a moving office that is alive and well. There is so much that is required from the presidency. And even in the absence of the president, the vice president, who is the acting president, has been engaged, and with the support of the minister in the presidency also had several meetings that were left by the president to engage into. So this is what is happening. While the president is out of country, the office is engaging, and the office is alive, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Now, the press conference starts. Ambassador, it's up to you now
Thank you, Your Excellency, Honorable Ministers, Special Advisors, members of the press. As provided in our program before you there, we are now moving into the second part of the program. That is the questions and answers. Before you pose a question, please identify yourself. I would like also kindly request that you put a short questions, but very clear and straight to the point. We will take 3 questions at a time. Depend on the question, His Excellency or one of the ministers will provide the answers. Again, I want to remind ourselves, time of essence. There are other programs, so we make this as quick as possible. The floor is now open for question and answers. You can pose a question where you are. There's a mic before you. You just press, and then you speak. You don't have to stand up. Remain sitting. Yes, I can identify 2 hands up there. Please start.
Good morning, His Excellency. My name is Lloyd Jason, a journalist at New Era newspaper. During the 79th session of the UNGA, what were Namibian specific primary contributions or initiatives, especially in the areas of climate action and sustainable development, and how does the country plan to implement or follow up on this commitment domestically? And the second question is, at the Hamburg Sustainability Conference, discussions on sustainability are increasingly urgent. How is Namibia aligning its national development plans with global sustainability goals, particularly in renewable energy and environmental conservation sectors? I thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Lina Adishana from Nampa. My question is regarding Starlink. Government considering to offer it a license. How will this affect the 2 communication state companies? And my second question is, I think the Minister of Mines touched a bit on it, but I would like to find out regarding Cabinet's resolved of prohibiting exportation of raw materials to outside. How far has government realized the beneficiation of that, of Namibia's raw materials? And my last question is, 91% of the eligible voters registered to vote. What is your message to the electoral rate, Mr. President?
Yes.
91% of eligible voters registered to vote. So what is the President's message to them?
Okay, another question? Please go ahead.
Morning, Mr. President. Morning, ministers and advisors. My name is Dwight Links from Eagle FM. Just 2 straight questions, Mr. President. Is there a time frame from the engagements with German head of state Steinmeier and Chancellor Scholz regarding the negotiations, the discussions around the reparations and genocide? And second question is just, will Namibia attend COP29, which is planned for Azerbaijan, Baku? Thank you.
We have 3 questions, Your Excellency. Ministers, maybe you can provide the first answers to those 3 questions.
Good. Let me start with the first one. What was our main interest, our main principal position during then the UNGA 79? As I said already, we were the driving people, Namibia and Germany, preparing for the Summit of the Future. And the Summit of the Future took place before the General Assembly proper meeting. Our aim and our position was to represent the global South, the developing countries. And I must say, our ambassador, Ambassador Neville Herze, did a fantastic job. Just imagine Namibia, as small as we are, with an embassy that does not have hundreds of people. We have to coordinate the position from Indonesia, India, Brazil, Mexico, not to talk about Africa. That was a huge responsibility. And our aim is to make sure that smaller countries, developing countries, their voices are heard. Our voices must also be heard. That when we complain about unfair systems, when we talk about Africa, not the whole continent of Africa. Now we are talking about the population of 600 million people. And we have no seat, no permanent seat in the General Assembly. And we are now supposed to keep quiet and to be happy with our position. This is no longer 1945. It's not even 1965. It's not even 1995. It's 2024. So we demand our right to be heard. We were also lucky or privileged to be working with a country that the two ambassadors immediately linked up and truly worked very, very hard. When I arrived in New York, my ambassador at the UN, who is supposed to have received me at the airport, he could not even leave the UN building. He was still negotiating. He was still discussing. Our ambassador to Washington, Margaret Mensah Williams, has to come and collect me from the airport as protocol dictate. So we were engaged to make sure that the issue of small countries is heard, that the issue of peace is recognized, that friction and this thing of, because I come from a bigger country and bigger economy and bigger guns, therefore I'm a bigger human being. All human beings must be equal. That was our position. The other one was maybe on the time frame. At the correct time, we will make those positions known. I will jump the gun if I start talking too early. So we will have a report. We were discussing certain things. We did not take over the responsibility of our negotiators. We share our views. I understand what their concerns are. They understand what my concerns are. And I remember in one meeting, I can't say with which one, I said, I must be frank. And I have to tell how the people in Namibia feel on certain things. On the issue of apology, on the issue of money, on the issue of this and on the issue of that. So he came back to say, Mr. President, as you said, you were frank, I must also be frank. Sometimes in the meeting, when senior people start talking about that they are frank, that means they have decided to tell the truth about how the situation is. But we are making steady progress. Let's hope one day we'll have an announcement that say, this is how we are going to deal with the situation coming forward. Now the last one on what should I tell the voters? First, I must thank Namibians for being peaceful people, for really being peaceful people. In any other countries, when you have elections and you have only a month and a half to go, the police will be very busy. We are happy that Namibians continue to be peaceful. We are happy that they have registered. We beg them, we applaud them, we ask them we invite them, we will do anything possible to tell them, let them go and vote. To vote for the parties and candidates or their choices. We are not telling them who to vote for. We are telling them democracy means participation in the democratic process. And the voting is the apex of the democratic process. If you do not participate in the elections of your country, you are basically saying, whether I'm a citizen of Namibia or not a citizen of Namibia, it does not matter. It matters, my friend. Your vote counts. And make your own decision. Your decision should not be made by somebody else. And prepare yourself also. Next time, maybe you are the candidate. If in the last election you did not vote, now you want us to vote for you the next election, what type of arrangement is that? Be a citizen. Let me quote Barack Obama. He was asked, will democracy survive? And I think he used very strong words. He said, yes, democracy will survive if we fight for it. Just imagine a former American president talking about democracy will survive if we fight. He did not say if we vote. He did not say if we do what. He said we must be ready to fight for democracy. And the beginning fight for democracy is to claim your right to vote.
Yes, on issues of environment in particular, I should inform you that the Minister of Environment and Tourism was a member of the delegation and attended some side events related to sustainable development, issues of climate change, and so forth. And Namibia would participate in COP21. The Minister will be representing the President there. And our position...
29.
Excuse me, COP29, COP29, and our position is known as it has been. We are fighting for the reduction of the carbon emissions, but we also want industrialized nations to bring money on the table in order to assist small countries like ours that have been affected by the carbon emissions but have not really benefited from that. And it is also for the reasons that we are now talking about renewable energy, like the solar and the wind power. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And perhaps one has to augment the statement by the Minister of International Relations insofar as renewable energy is concerned. We know Namibia's constitutional provision insofar as the environment is concerned. We also do know that science, and as emphasized in the themes of the Pact of the Future, enables the living standards of people to be brought in line, as many other innovations have happened on the back of minerals that we have, on the back of science, technology, and the rest of it. And Namibia, for the longest time, in the prosperity established, explored for minerals and explored for oil and gas. These are the input efforts of a nation in trying to uplift the living standards of its people. Just recently, we know on the shores of our water, we have the black gold. And that was an effort of the government's relentless effort without risking its revenue in finding the black gold. We have it now. It is no different with renewable energies. It is a science that actually gets out there and understands the parts of the world with the best renewable capacities between the wind and the sun. And that's basically what green hydrogen is all about. There may not be a ready market today, just like there was no ready market for all the critical raw minerals. Even in the spectrum of that business, you have valleys and mountains. As technology comes in to aid human sustainability, and as new ones fill that space with those falling out, it is exactly the same basis. The critics out there mustn't be supremacist in their thinking. The critics out there should not think it's only an economist who would run a successful country. He is at best a teacher. Others have had other skills. But Namibia is actually being seen in the world as, hey, let me go to that small country. It offers peace, stability, it offers the laws that secures my money. I can be there in and out without actually being jailed. So those are the bases that governments provide. The rest of us as technocrats, investors, go to the environment, protect it as per the Constitution, put our money in there. Someday soon, we will have the rewards of renewable energies. It is undoubtedly the case. I so submit.
Thank you. That was the one on Starlink.
Yeah, Excellency, we can provide just a brief response. There was a lot of interest in that meeting between the President and the world's wealthiest man, Elon Musk, and the Starlink application. And we did provide a response to say that the application is going through our processes. So that's what it is for now. The Minister is applying her mind. Thank you.
There was a question on how far we have gotten with the restriction of exploitation of raw minerals. And as I did say in my initial remark to say is, we did say critical raw minerals that are necessary for the energy transition, those need to be evaluated. So far what we have in our country is lithium that has been discovered. And therefore, in regard to the lithium now, since that ban, we now have 2 processing plants that are processing uranium. So the decision has, is actually bearing fruit. So, and also to say, it's not. Let's also understand that it's not now the only minerals that we've been adding value to. As we know, the diamonds, in terms of the agreement that we've got the beers, right now 15% of that diamond is actually retained in the country for value addition, and right now we do have 11 companies that are doing cutting and polishing of the diamond from that 15% that we are retaining in the country. So this will not be the first time we are actually adding value to our minerals. What we need to do, like for example now with a mineral, why should we not proceed to jewelry manufacturing and not just to end with the polishing and cutting of the diamonds? And that is something that we also investigate and say, can we not do manufacture the jewelries that can then be sold? So, but on the lithium at least now we do have 2 processing plants that are doing what we were asked them to do.
Ambassador.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Like I said, at time of essence, this program is live, and we have a limited time, but with your permission, we may allow 3 more short questions. Please, straight to the point. Yes, Blanche.
Thank you, Ambassador. My name is Blanche from NBC. Your Excellency, with your permission, my first question is to the Press Secretary, Dr. Alfredo Hengari. Doc, the last time we spoke, and it's an interview that we also widely shared with the media at home, you informed us that the negotiations with regard to the genocide apology and reparations were in their final stages. So any update in that regard from last week Wednesday to now? The second question is to the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Dr. Peya Moshalenga. Minister, just an update on the visa issue between Namibia and Germany. I know that you mentioned during the breakfast meeting in Berlin that the communication has been through diplomatic channels, but now we've had the German Africa Business Association coming out in support of your stance So any update in that regard? Because since the publishing of those stories, many Namibians have been asking the questions that I'm relaying to you now. So those are just my brief questions I so submit.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Your Excellency, my question was already asked by Blanche. It's also referring to the visa requirements. Thank you very much.
I see no more hands, and we've got 10 minutes to conclude. So, Prime Minister, please provide the answers.
Thank you. With regard to the question regarding visa, there's no update since last time. The visa requirements of the Germans, their regime is still the same. But as you have heard, we have and we will continue pressing that they should actually treat the Namibian visas as visas from a country that they have a special relationship with as a claim. With regard to the issue of the German Namibia negotiations on genocide, when we were in Germany, our teams, the technical teams, were meeting to negotiate. They will report to the high-level committee, after which you will then hear, because they have not yet reported, and obviously they cannot report to the media or to the public through the media before they report to the high-level committee, because the technical committee is a subcommittee of the high-level committee. Thank you.
Any agent question not asked, we might be in trouble. Any comment? Let me just say that let me just say thank you very much for attending this meeting and asking questions that are to the point. I attended for the first time the UN General Assembly meeting. It was my first. It will be my last. But like all Namibians who are lucky, I make two statements in that General Assembly. One, in the opening session of the Summit of the Future, and later as representing Namibia proper for the General Assembly. And my position was not to tell anybody that it's my last or my first, because the principal position, when you attend this type of meeting, forget about your name. The name of your country is you. When they call Namibia, we all jump up. So I did not have to say goodbye to the General Assembly, because Namibia is there to stay. And anyone who will be delegated by the Republic of Namibia in years to come must represent a country, the land of the brave. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency, Comrade President, honorable ministers, members of the media. We have come to the end of the session, and I would like to thank President of our Republic, Dr. Mbumba, honorable ministers, for the briefing so delivered. Equally, we thank the media. Media will play a very important role. From here, they will inform the nation and beyond of what has transpired. Equally, we thank the Namibian nation out there. I know this program is very live, and they are watching, and we thank them for being part of the program. For now, we sign off here, and once again, thank you.